Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Brilliantly Resilient Live. I washed my hair. I showered myself up because we have one of the greatest guests that I will admit, been stalking and learning from people and learning from for years as I was building a nonprofit and trying to get the word out and trying to harness the power of social media. Today we have Sue B. Zimmerman, who, like I said, been following for years. Her information is magnificent. Her personality fits right in with the Brilliantly Resilient dynamic duo here. And I am so excited to bring her to you. Thank you so much for joining us, Sue.
Hey, it's great to be here. I just shared this over to my Facebook group with over 2,000 people. So if anyone's tuning in from Ready, Set, Graham, just buckle up and listen. It's going to be a fun ride here as we talk about, what are we talking about?
How to be brilliantly resilient, which you clearly are.
Yeah, let's get at it, ladies.
So here's the thing. As we were all talking, before we even got a tour of Sue's living room and all, while we were talking about all the different things she's done, it occurred to me that, and we are going to dive into some strategies and stuff for businesses, and especially as we're all trying to reset. But Sue, you are like the reset and rise queen. Reset, rise, reset, rise. I mean, how many businesses did you say you've had?
Yeah, I've had 18, but I actually say I know how to pivot, morph, evolve, and recreate opportunities. And so a lot of people get stuck in doing the same thing because they don't think they know any differently, or they don't have the support to make those changes. To me, that's life and exciting. And I've always enjoyed the journey and the ride of exploring a new idea, or knowing when something is not working, or when I wake up and I'm not feeling the love and the passion around what I'm doing, like it's time to shake things up. And so I was that fierce entrepreneur who always knew how to shake things up, until I landed 8 years ago here teaching Instagram marketing. I think this is my final business because I'm just having a blast at it.
That's awesome. We talk a lot about the whole idea of transferable skills, and we were joking about that beforehand. And I mean, you're the classic example of that, because everything that you have done has taken that skill set and you've moved it from one place to another to another. And that's the part that we love about this.
Oh, yeah. And I could go deep in what those skill sets have been if people really I think so much of it has to do with mindset, but I can talk about whatever you ladies want, like you name it. Just throw it at me and I'm good for a conversation here.
Well, here's the thing that I was noticing. I wanted to run past you. And if this is, if it's hitting you cold and it's hitting you cold, we can skip it. But we just had last week on What's Up Wednesday, we've been on the air so long now at almost 100 days in a row that we were checking in with our first 50 episode folks, because we started when the whole world went in lockdown and people were really needing to understand that they have resilience and all. So we checked in with some brick and mortar business owners that we had met in our first 50 episodes. They were trying to pivot and figure out how to stay afloat. And then we checked in and they came up with some ideas using online to stay afloat. And now their doors are about to be able to open again, God willing. Here's my question for you. What do you say to folks like that? Should they continue that online arm and grow it? Do they come offline and stay in their brick and mortar? How's the hybrid look? What do you think?
Oh, it's a great question. And because 8 years ago, I had a store here on Cape Cod for 7 years, I totally can relate to this. Anyone that has a brick and mortar or a physical location. I think that nothing's going to go back to normal, that there, and I know this from experience, because 2 weeks ago I went over to Martha's Vineyard and stayed at an Airbnb and went to places to get food and to shop and to go to galleries and whatever we could do. A lot of it was outside, but we went to one establishment, the Black Dog on Martha's Vineyard, and it felt so like, because of all these new rules, and I'm a rule breaker, so this is hard for me. So because of all these new rules, like 6 feet here, don't go there, that's the door you go out, place your order here. The people behind the cashier don't even have their mask on correctly. And there's all these discrepancies around like what what is the right thing to do. I think the right thing to do is what you're most comfortable doing as an individual, and obviously keeping social distance. With that being said, if you are not welcoming your customers in your physical location with fucking bells and whistles, meaning, beautiful flowers, nice smelling. I used to always spray Bobby Brown beach scent in my store so it smelled like the beach. Flowers, hand sanitizers, like just giving out a surprise and delight thing just to have someone physically show up. If you're not like open arms, I am so glad that you're here. You're missing a huge opportunity, because it's so important for you to create an imprint and a memory and that with that person, with that customer, because they will talk about it with their friends. Just like I'm talking about the bad experience, I will talk about a good one in a second, but they will talk about it. They might even share it on Instagram. They might share it on social media, and it's how your business is going to get more exposure. And so it's so important to shift with the changes, be resilient, and think of things outside of the box of the way that you were doing business to make people feel really comfortable in your establishment. And if you're not doing that, you're going to lose.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? I can totally attest to that, because this weekend I went with some girlfriends to dinner, and I'm like, I can't take all the stress of this many feet apart, and reservations send me over the edge. I don't like reservations. I want to just go when I want to go to my favorite, bars and restaurants. But anyway, we go, Mary Fran, we were at Bobby Lutz's The Green Parrot. And this is a guy that is so community, right? We get there, and he's the owner is all over the place, saying hi to everybody, thanking everybody for coming, and handing out drinks and talking to people while they're waiting. So there wasn't, because it was everyone's still trying to figure it out. It wasn't very
Right.
But what did I do? Took pictures, put it on Instagram, saying this is where I feel like me. So to your point, I did all of that as the customer. I was so happy to be back.
Yeah. And social media and online exposure is what everyone needs. If you don't have a solid online presence and you're not buttoned up consistently with your business and your brand and your core values and your messaging, you're going to get lost in the sea of everyone else making noise on social media. And I always post with intention, and I have this acronym. I always say, what's in it for them? What's in it for them? So what's in it for them? So WIIFT, what's in it for them? If you're just making noise to cross something off your list and it's not about them and it's all about you, that's not going to work. You have to come up with something that's going to make people think about you. And for example, this weekend, I actually groomed my dog for the second time. I bought my own clippers. I have the groomer like pulling up to my driveway later today, but it was kind of a shit show. But I groomed Cody. Did a pretty good job, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, how'd you do it? Tell me your tips. What are your top tips? What did you do? Where'd you buy the clipper?" And I did a good enough job because I'm an artist at heart, so I'm good with the scissors. I'm good with the razors. I understand like the ears, like checking everything. And I did a pretty good job. So it was a conversation. So what's in it for them? What's in it for them is a little chuckle. Cody's almost 16. I'm grooming him. I'm resilient. I'm figuring shit out because my groomer's not coming here and Cody's looking like a hot mess. So you've got to like step up and do something. So with that being said, people start asking me questions about what I did. And that's an opportunity for a conversation. So conversations don't just happen in and around business. They happen around the things that you are doing in your life. So whether you're crafting or, grooming your dog or cooking or whatever it is, if there's a message or a tip or a lesson or something that you learned about chia seeds when you add them to your cereal, like I just did, that you don't even taste them. They're just so good. They make you full.
And by the way, her degree's in nutrition, everybody. Let's just throw that out there because,
yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah. You guys want to talk health and wellness. And if you search GIFs on Instagram, everyone open up your app and search in the Giphy Sue B or SBZ, and you'll see my custom GIFs. And one of them says your health is your wealth. Because one of my core values is all about health. Because if you don't have your health, you got nothing. And I always preach and teach that. I walk around Cape Cod with a resistant band around my legs and people look at me like I'm crazy. But I'm like multitasking over here like a boss, because like, why not? And, I'm picking up rocks on the beach, putting them in my backpack and walking with extra weights on. Like, I'm always just thinking, like, how can I get the most out of my actions every day and live life to the fullest? And it might not always be someone else's agenda, but I don't really care. Because if you're living life to its fullest and you're walking the talk and doing what you love, you're going to attract the right tribe, the right community, and your business will ultimately grow, as mine always have.
I'm listening to everything that you're saying, and just to kind of go back a little bit to what you were talking about in terms of being comfortable at this restaurant that you went to, it's occurring to me that everything relates back to that. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was talking about the level of anxiety that I'm experiencing just going out and trying to get back to normal. So what I'm hearing from you is what you're trying to do, regardless of what your platform is, whether you're talking to somebody, whether it's online or whatever, is that you're trying to make people feel a comfort level with you so that you can build that relationship, and then it goes on from there.
Yeah. I mean, it's like people, especially on social media, they jump right to buy my shit instead of, hi, how are you? Let's connect. Like, how did you meet me? Exactly like you and I, the three of us did before we started talking. I'm like, how did I get in this room? Like, what
happened? How did I get here?
And, you mentioned you met me on Mary Fran, you met me on LinkedIn or Connected Movement, which is just such a hoot to me because I'm hardly ever there. And Kristen said, how long have you known me? Have you been following me, Kristen?
I've been doing a nonprofit for 9 years. So it's got to be somewhere in the 7, 8 year mark.
But how did you initially connect with me, do you think?
I think it was YouTube when you were doing things about Instagram. You
Cool.
had the Instagram logo and the pillow and all behind you.
I still got all that stuff. I have the best props on the internet. I'm just saying. I have the best props. Okay. So my point is, it takes time to build trust and relationships. And it also means that you need to slay in your lane of whatever it is you want to be the go-to authority in. You want to be the person that people talk about in your niche. You've got to show up consistently. And as you just said, yes, I have a YouTube channel, SubiZimmerman.com/YouTube. I have over 365 YouTube videos there. You can watch me for days, weeks, months if you want. And
binge
learn,
watching Subi.
and learn as much as you want. And it's because I've figured out kind of this secret sauce to success that really has to do with consistently showing up in all of your true glory and not holding back anything. And I'm so not perfect. And if you drop the F-bomb, go for it. If you're going to offend someone, they're not meant to be in your circle. You've got to speak your truth and live to your core values and be 100% unapologetically who you are. And because I stepped into that at a very young age, I didn't really care what people were thinking about me, many of who were jealous of my success. I didn't care what was going on in their mind. All I cared is what I wanted to do in my mind. And I always have manifested what I wanted in my life. In fact, I'll share with your listeners, I'll grab a link to my YouTube video like that I did in the woods like years ago when I declared I was going to be the Instagram gal. It's hysterical. I watch that and I'm like, it makes me laugh because I literally, I literally said, I took my phone in a tree and I had my dog with me and I'm like, I'm going to become the Instagram expert. I'm going to teach people all over the world how to use Instagram. I claimed it. I manifested it. I wanted it. And I lived it every single day. And I'm not a woo-woo person over here. I'm just big on achieving my goals and not stopping until I get them, figuring it out, aligning with the right people, hiring the right people. And now that I have a team of 11 and a wildly successful business, all that manifestation has paid off.
Yeah, I'll say. So in all of those businesses and manifesting and standing in the woods, which my kids are just going to love you because I think I'm going to go out in the backyard and make some manifesting videos out there because they just love when I do stuff like that. have you had to have had in all those businesses and all these years some epic train wrecks and sucker punches with things failing?
Yeah, I have. So my first business out of college, it was hand painting clothing on a push cart, and I evolved that to hand painting boxer shorts and then silk screening boxer shorts and selling them to every college campus across the country. It was my first $1 million business, and I was
Wow.
22. And we sold to Disney and The Simpsons, and we did The Little Mermaid, and I learned about manufacturing, wholesale, retail, you name it. And the person I hired to do our accounting actually was my roommate, and she embezzled like $8,000 from me. And then she skipped the country and went to Bermuda and left me with the rent in Virginia, where I lived and where I had started. Yeah. So that was a shit show. And I learned, trusting people, do background checks on anyone that you have touched your money.
Yeah, I'll say.
People handling cash, we had retail. Yeah. You just have to assume that they're taking something.
Even the word.
Or just do a serious background check, or give them a commission or some incentives that if you are making good money, they get a piece of that. So that happened at a young age. And then subsequently, my treasurette business, the business where I was on QVC teaching scrapbooking to the country and traveling and doing scrapbook shows, which was a hoot. I did not do the scrapbooking. Like, I don't have scrapbooking books, but I'm really good at crafting and teaching and educating. So that was part of what I did. And that business was just, pushing me outside of my comfort zone, because I didn't know what it was going to feel like to be on live TV on QVC. But we did so well. We hit all of our numbers. You have to do a certain amount per minute. And we hit all of our numbers, and I got invited back. And that was really cool. So I realized that stepping into your comfort zone and teaching, like, when you're truly doing what you love, you just have to say, okay, no one's going to fire me, and I got to step into this and do it and do the best that I can, and do it with personality, because if you're boring, no one's going to watch you. So there needs to be some essence of persona in what you're doing, or your little thing that makes you special or grab someone's attention. So
quote that for my kids too. If I'm boring, no one will watch, because they're always like, calm down.
We don't have to worry about that with you. That's never been your problem.
I have t-shirts made with all your quotes. I'm going to wear them around my house.
You talk about, and I've heard you say this a number of times since we've been on the air, about your core values. And that's one of the things that Kristen and I talk about all of the time, is like, how was there like ever an actual awareness that that's what you were doing? Or is that just a place you've always operated from sort of intrinsically, and at one point went, like, I'm doing this a lot, this must be important to me?
It's based on conversations and feedback from people. Oh my God, I love your magnetic personality, or I love your bright colors, or your dog is adorable, or I love how you rollerblade with your dog, or I love watching you ski, or I love watching you travel around the world. You always take us with us. So all these things about my life that I realized were definitely, I've been very successful, and I really don't take anything for granted. And I realize that I'm very fortunate with all the things that I get to do with my life and the places I get to travel. And a lot of people don't have that same luxury. So I'm so grateful, and share that grateful aspect of who I am when I'm watching the sunset on the Cape or the sunrise in Boston from my high rise. And I get to share that. And so people always tell me the things that they are connected to and the things that they watch about me. And this whole value system is literally everything. Value is an exchange of money. Value is how you show up and give. Value is making someone feel a certain way. And so these are core values, and every person should take a little audit on themselves and say, okay, what are my core values? What are my non-negotiables? What are the things about me that align with my truth? And what are the things that I need to change? And so for me, one of the things that I needed to change was really to wrap my mind around what was going on in the world and continues to go on in the world in the past few weeks. And even though I'm like the most accepting person and literally just didn't spend time thinking about equity, inclusion, diversity, anti-racism, and justice, I needed to invest in that core value with someone who was an expert. And so I've been doing a lot of work with Trudy LeBron, who I actually did an IGTV video with, so she could teach my audience about her expertise, which is not mine. And that's part of this. This is like, if your core value is to fucking change the world and you're doing nothing and you're saying, I'm doing the work, I'm reading, I'm listening, but you're not stepping into your truth and calling people out and actively making people feel included and that they have the same equity as the next person taking your online course, then there's a problem. So that's a core value. And so you got to live your truth, speak your truth, and do the work around your truth. And so that's an example of people just trying to do the right thing, but are afraid to speak their mind because maybe their husband's racist or their best friend is racist and they don't know how to say it without having confrontation. Speaking your truth is hard, and a lot of people don't speak their truth, and that's a core value as well.
Yeah.
I love that. And you also hit on you're hitting on every single thing that Kristen and I think is totally important. And again, the one thing is action. You got to do something. You can't just talk about it. You can't just, like you said, read the book and I'm researching and all that. And action is hard, but that's the only thing that gets you over the finish line, right?
Oh yeah, action's everything. I mean, if you're not doing and you're obsessing and thinking and wondering and wishing and hoping, anyone can buy hope. It's the doing that gets you to the next place and the next place and the next place. It doesn't all come at once. You've got to do the work to get what you want. And so I've always worked hard and I always get what I want because I don't stop until I do. So I'm that kind of spoiled brat that says, that's like, I'm getting that. Like, I'm speaking on that stage. I'm gonna do a TED Talk. Like, whatever it is I want to put in front of me, like, I make it happen.
Now, where does your courage to do that come from? Is that just something that's been with you your whole life? Have you always been this courageous, I got this, I'm doing it? Or did that evolve?
Kind of. I mean, I am the middle child of three. My dad owned an automobile parts store in Lawrence, Massachusetts. I grew up in Andover, Mass. And I used to go to work with him as a young girl, sweep the floor, file mufflers and distributors, and look at like Playboy calendars. like just picture like this old automobile parts store. It was hysterical. But I watched what my dad did with his customers. This is what I want your listeners to hear. I watched how every person that walked in, he said their name, and everyone's name is their favorite word in the world. So I walked how it was like a neighborhood vibe, and that's literally what social media communities are. And what we're doing right here is making people feel inclusive. And they'd put their nickel in the peanut machine and crank it or get a gumball. And I'm like watching like everyone at the register pay and say hello, say goodbye, and buy whatever they were buying in that automobile store. And I learned about customer service and loyalty and work ethic. And my dad would pay me like $50 for coming in on a Saturday morning. And I love the money.
Wow.
You got that early too, right?
Yeah. I mean, money is really, like I said earlier, is an exchange of value. And I learned at a young age what money could afford me, the things like that my parents weren't willing to buy me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that idea that money is an exchange of value. We don't really think of it. I mean, put in those terms, clearly you pay for something that's valuable to you.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I sell a coaching program that is thousands of dollars and worth every penny. We're probably going to raise our prices soon because we have such a demand for it. And when someone gets on the call and the first thing they ask is how much it is, I know that they're not the right fit. Because if money is your roadblock, it's a mindset issue. And you can make money. Money is so easy to make. You have to just think a little differently. Like maybe you're going to walk someone's dog or drive an Uber or do Uber Eats or there's so many ways to make money. You can sell things. Like, it's like making money has never been an issue for me. Like, it just hasn't. And so that's mindset. That goes back to the mindset. And so the exchange of value is you stepping into knowing what you're worth. And so many people don't charge what they're worth. And as a business coach, I give them a kick in the butt and I tell them what they're worth. And often people double their rates and they're like, Subi, I've already paid for this investment. I'm like, no shit, because you weren't charging enough. Yeah. Like, so but you have to own it. You have to feel good about it. You have to feel confident about it. And I always have. And so to go back to your question, was I always confident? Pretty much. I mean, I was a jock and a tomboy. I didn't wear girls' clothes till I was 13. I was just so in my head. I set trends. I didn't follow trends. I was the first one with clogs, the first one with Timberlane boots. I had every color lacrosse shirt that you could get. I was like preppy Subi, living in Andover, Massachusetts. So all of that, like when I do the reflection of life and my values, go back to just how I thought about money. And I knew at 13, after I got bar mitzvahed and I looked at my jewelry and like I added up my Movado watch that my grandfather bought me and the necklace my dad gave me. And I'm just thinking, okay, I just thought about like how much money like I was wearing. Okay, I'm like, I'm really liking this money thing. I want to, I want to be like a multimillionaire and like not worry about what I want to buy, but just buy and do and have. And yeah, I mean, I
just love that you admit that, because so many of us have a hard time saying, I just want to make money, especially women. Like that's a thing with us.
Oh, no,
I don't know why.
Girls, ladies, I love my Chanel boots and my Chanel dresses. And it's like buying some serious art when you buy anything at Chanel. And I love it. I love pretty things. Aesthetics is like my sixth sense. Like, so I want things, and that's an exchange of value. That is money, the exchange of value. And so I'm fortunate. I can buy whatever I want and do whatever I want, but I know that most people can't. So I'm a very philanthropic person over here as well. So I just get to choose where I spend my money and what brings me the most joy and what I'm going to lean into every day and who I'm going to surround myself with and what clients I want to work with and change this world. I mean, I just want to make it a better place. I want everyone to step into their calling, to live their life with their legacy. Most people I work with are midlife and thinking about the second half of their life and the impact that they want to make. And life is too friggin' short to not make an impact. So yeah, it's all come kind of full circle from all these 18 businesses I've had.
I think it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I love your journey. I love your honesty. And so much of when you were talking, I was thinking our paths, if it was like, one of those movies, I'd be walking down one street and you're walking down another, because I took my kids to Martha's Vineyard when I first got divorced to do something different. And I loved it there. And at QVC, did you go to QVC headquarters to do that show?
Oh, I had to go to QVC school. I mean, I'm telling you, I was there for a day. They told me what bra to wear, how to do my nails, what color shirt.
I went to college right by the studio where they do all of it in West.
Oh yeah, no, I was there for. Did you guys watch the movie Joy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was her basically.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I loved it. It was so fun. It was like such a life I was so nervous. I practiced for 6 months in the woods when I was walking because it was live TV. And so you don't get a second chance.
Yeah.
But I crushed all my numbers. It was so great. It was fun. I'm like, oh my God, I like this TV thing. I want more. Like, give me the camera. This is fun.
That's what we love doing the TV too. The Facebook Lives. We're all over that.
Yeah, it's amazing how those are the kinds of things, like the things that scare you when you finally push through that, they're the things that are the coolest.
Yeah. I mean, what are people saying on the live? Are there any questions? I can't see all the comments.
So Eric Hartman, who's down in New Orleans now, he's a visually impaired artist that I know real well. He says, Sue's a trip. He says he actually lived in Hyannis, and that's where he learned to be an artist. Now he's down.
Oh, it's gorgeous there. Yeah. It's beautiful. The Cape, there's nothing like Cape Cod. In every single town on the Cape, there's 13. I'm in Falmouth Heights. But every body of water has different views, and the sunsets, the sunrises, and there's so many phenomenal artists in P-Town and Truro and all of that. And if I didn't teach Instagram, I'd probably be painting.
It is beautiful. I just couldn't get over how many different beaches were on Martha's Vineyard. I mean, we were skimming rocks on one, we were paddleboarding on all of them. And that one, my kids, I always mess up the name. We went for the sunset. I always call it Menomina, but that's not what it is. That's from the Muppets.
Menemsha?
Yes. My kids are like, could you please use real words? My daughter and I just tend to make things up because we can't remember anything. But we went to see the sunset there.
On the vineyard.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Menemsha has the nicest sunset, and I was just there, and lobsters are amazing. Yeah.
It was amazing. There's little tiny like shack things that you walk down the street. And my daughter, who's sighted, my boys are blind, but my daughter's describing, I'm going to end up in tears, to my sons, how everyone, because we were there all day, and then everyone starts bringing their chairs and their tables and having dinner. And she said, Mom, it's like we go to the Jersey Beach. And she's like, it's like when everybody comes for the fireworks. They're all coming for the sunset. I'm like, Carissa, wait till you see it. We had the greatest time.
The shacks have been there forever, and they're all native artists that are on the island making, their wares that they're selling. And that was kind of my life when I had my store. I used to also hustle around Cape Cod, setting up at all the craft shows and events and doing and selling that way as well. So I really relate to that life. Yeah, it's beautiful here.
That's great. Eric says it's a perfect place for impressionism. He's one of my great friends that has lost a ton of his vision and is still this incredible artist. It's just bizarre, and he's super fun to do stuff with too.
Nice.
I guess we got to. I can see Mary Fran's got that look on her face.
I got that look on my I got that we have to wrap up look on my face, only because I know Sue's got another appointment, and I can't tell you what a joy it has been to have you. I mean, so much fun, and I feel like we've known you for a million years, which is awesome. And you've been such a gift to our audience. So please tell everybody where they can find you, where they can. We all need more Sue B in our lives.
Awesome. So you guys, I like action takers. If you're listening to this, if you're watching on the replay, if you've laughed, and if you're like, I need to get some more Sue B, or just understand how to have an online presence, specifically using Instagram, you can find me at the Instagram Expert, and come say hi in the DM, come say hi on a post. I also have, like I said earlier, my YouTube channel where you can learn more about Instagram and connect with me that way. And yeah, just make sure that do you guys have your own Instagram account called Brilliantly Resilient, or is it?
No, we didn't even get that far yet.
Okay. So just let me know that you heard me here and connected with me here. And if you have any questions about anything we talked about, just hit me up. I'm an open book.
Awesome. And use the hashtag Brilliantly Resilient for now when you connect with Sue B on all those platforms. This has been so exciting for me. It was cool to see all the background of the Cape up there. And I just had such a good time. You gave us all such great information. So thanks for being here. Everybody, thanks for tuning in again to Brilliantly Resilient Live. And if you are still having issues with resetting your mindset, we've got a really quick freebie for you to read through, and I guarantee you it will change your perception on some things that you're struggling with. And that's at brilliantlyresilient.net/freebie. We will see you again tomorrow.